We will be studying Robert Frost by looking into his biography. You know that biography of the writer has a strong influence on the writing, even though the writing style, the creation of the poetry. So we will see that who was Robert Frost and who he has written and how he got, how he was famous, and if he was famous, so he was famous for what thing? Most of the time, he is been called as a poet of nature, but on the other side, he is also called as the poet of the national poet of America. Secondly, he's been in two countries. Like he's been in England, and on the other side, he's been in America. So we will see that, like from the biography, we will judge that what type of literary style he uses in his poems, and how he depicts the different situations that made him special, that made him a distinguished poet from all of the other American poets and writers. Okay, so let me share my screen with you people. So is it visible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so can someone please uh, read the biography of Robert Frost? Anyone? Yes. So he is the very poet, Robert Frost, an American poet. Yeah, anyone who would like to read the biography of Robert Frost? Yeah, do it right now.
Yes, sir, I will do.
Go on.
Robert Frost is a celebrated American poet. He had a great mastery of American colloquial speech and made realistic depictions of the early rural life.
Okay,
His great
okay,
work in
great.
poetry mostly included settings from the real life in New England in early 20th century. He used poems to examine complex philosophical and social themes. During his life, individuals honored and at many times quoted him due to his work, and he also received four Pulitzer prizes.
It's surprising. Okay, fine. What is he? He is a most celebrated American poet, and then he has a great mastery of American colloquial speech. What is colloquialism? You already aware of. Colloquialism, I would say, a style, a literary style that belongs to the rural areas, that belongs to the rural, the countryside style, and the language of the colloquialism is the language of the working class, of the peasants, of the farmers, of the working class. So you can say that the colloquialism is a true depiction for Robert Frost, because we have already studied that colloquialism talks about uh, the language that belongs to the lower middle classes. So then realistic depictions of early rural life, so colloquialism, you know that when language develops from the area, from the rural area, so that language depicts the rural life in its depiction or in its representation. That is the reason we can say that colloquial language is or can be associated with the depiction or the representation of the rural life, realistic depiction of the rural life. These are the two things. It means that the countryside has been depicted by Robert Frost in with his colloquial style in his poems. His great work in poetry mostly included settings from the rural life that you can also see. And it was early 20th century. He used poems to examine complex philosophical and social themes. So he is not the first writer that he has used the poetry to talk about the philosophical and social thematic studies or social fields of studies. It means that he has been talking about the complex relationship of the society, the philosophical relationship of the society, of the people, including himself. Then, during his lifetime, individuals honored and at many times quoted him due to his work, and he also received 4 Pulitzer Prizes. So it means that he is a renowned poet and most celebrated poet of American literature. Okay, then yeah, go on. Just talk about early life of Robert Frost.
Early years.
Just a minute. Let me finish. Hmm.
He was born and raised in Francisco, California, to Isabel Moody and journalist William Prescott. His mother was a Scottish, and his father came from the lineage of Frost of Tiverton, England, who had travelled all the way to New Hampshire in early 1634. Frost's father was an editor of Francisco Evening Bulletin, but adopted this career after leaving his earlier teaching career. The newspaper later merged into San Francisco Examiner. After his father's death, his family moved to Lawrence. He graduated
Massachusetts.
Massachusetts. Okay. He graduated.
Massachusetts.
Okay, sorry. He graduated from the Lawrence High School in year 1892. In spite of his association with the early rural life, he grew up in the city and managed to publish his first poem while in high school in the school's magazine. After high school, he attended the Dartmouth College. After college, he returned to his hometown and started teaching, and also did other work, including newspaper delivery and manual labor, some major factories. However, he never enjoyed any of the jobs as he felt his great calling as a poet.
Okay, so we see that the career of Robert Frost, that how he's been doing multiple jobs at that time. First poem that he has written, it was in his high school, and after that he moved to college, and then he also, along with his studies, he was also doing jobs, but he didn't find interest in any of them. Then he was entrusted to write the poetry, and he feels so that this is his domain, and in which he must be producing something. This is all about him, and now we can talk about not his adult years. We already know that. We can talk about something. Yeah, you can talk about from. You can read from this line. In the following years, he had his first poetry book.
Sir, where is it? I didn't find it.
A boy, the bold line. This one.
Okay, sir. Uh, in England, he sir यहाँ से अच्छा in the following
Yeah.
year he had his first poetry book, A Boy's Will, published. In England, he managed to make several acquaintances like Edward Thomas, Ezra Pound, and T. E. Helms Pound later. later became the first American to write a favorable review about Frost's poetry work. While in England, Frost managed to write some of the best works alongside his peers. Frost went back to America in 1915 at the onset of the First World War. He managed to purchase a farm in Franconia, New Hampshire, where he launched his career of teaching, writing, and lecturing. The homestead, the homestead served as his summer home until the year 1938. The homestead is maintained as the Frost Place, a poetry conference site, and a museum in Francisco. Frost taught English at Amherst College. Sorry, word फिर से नहीं आ रहा.
Okay,
Masso,
Massa- Massachusetts, Massachusetts. Yeah,
Okay,
instead of you
Massachusetts.
skipping the words, you must know how to pronounce it. Okay, so
Okay,
it is Massachusetts, Massachusetts, simply.
Massachusetts.
Okay, and there are two or three other words. You said it is Edward Thomas, not Thomas. It is Edward Thomas. Okay, then there is another word that is he managed to purchase. It is purchase, not purchase. Purchase
Okay,
a
sir.
form. Yeah. Okay, okay, fine. Thank you, Tuba.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, can anyone else, please? His accomplishment in poetry.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, I will read.
Yeah. His
Eh,
two collections publications happened from this.
His first two collections publications happened while he was in England. One of the first collections, A Boy's Will, published in the year 1915, shows a sign of the many themes and techniques that Frost developed further. Most of the poems in the collection employ an archaic Victorian fashion. In this collection, he never applies the conversational style, which he highly uses in his later works. Most poetry most poetry reviewers, including Ezra Pound, reviewed the work positively. His second collection, North Boston, cemented his reputation in both America and England as a poet with significant talent. His poem, The Road Not Taken, published in the year 1961, Mountain Interval Collection, became one of the anthologized and popular works in American literature, although critics complain that people misunderstood it. The poem is taken as a celebration of individuality when its most likely interpretation is regretful work. New Hampshire, published in the year 1924, confirmed Frost as one of the significant poetic voices of the 20th century. He won a Pulitzer Prize for the collection. The collection contains his most popular poem, Stopping by Woods on a Snow Evening. Frost claimed of having written the poem after working for another poem for a whole night. The poem uses imagery of a snowbound forest and a long journey to creating a metaphor of an individual struggling against nature.
Okay, thank you so much, Fahad. Yeah, so we know that who is Robert Frost now in a vivid way because we know that how his career was started. We know that how he started writing. We know that what poems that he has written and that he was famous for. And on the other side, then there was some variation in the style of writing. First of all, he started writing that was, I would say, much formal, and after that, his poems and the style of poetry it became conversational because he has started depicting the life of rural. So that is the reason we can say that that became the conversational style more than the formal style that he has used in his early poetry. And on the other side, we see that he has taken the subject like nature he has taken about all the components of the nature that you can also see, and like the stopping the road not taken. So this is also, you can say, one of the related to one of the poem that is about the nature, because he was standing in the middle of the jungle, and there are two ways in front of him. So he is just feeling which way he must take. And then the other poem, stopping by woods on a snow evening. So when he was about to visit to his friend in the countryside, so he was on the horse. So he was about to go, but uh, in the middle of the jungle, the horse stopped, and on the other side, Robert Frost. Now he was also looking at the jungle, the darkness of the jungle. He was enjoying the beauty of the jungle. He was enjoying the beauty of the snow, even though uh, he feels so that it is the horse that wants me to stay over there, because the horse also wants to enjoy you can say, the beauty of the nature. So it also about, you can say, stopping by woods. The word woods, it also shows the component of the nature. Snowy, so it is also shows the component of the nature, snow. And it means that his most of the talk, most of the poems will be about the nature. And this is the first poem of Robert Frost that you will be studying today. It is The Road Not Taken. So let me separate it from the previous. Yeah. So the road not taken. Okay. Can anyone tell, please, what does it mean? The road not taken. Hmm? Anyone?
So probably it means the way he should had left.
Okay. And by the you can say title of the poem, you can interpret so many things. The first thing that you can see, that the road not taken. It means, it seems that it was the will, or willfully or deliberately or knowingly he hasn't taken the road. On the other side, it also seems that he is regretting on his decision not to take that road. Okay, so the road not taken means that it seems that Robert Frost says that I took one road but not the other. It can also mean the same, that he is feeling regret that why I took only the one road, but I couldn't taken I could not take the other road too, because he had two options. There were two roads and he had two options. So he is actually regretting not to take the other road, because he cannot definitely travel the both road at the same time. And on the other side, it seems that he took the road uh, that is not taken by others. This is also probably another interpretation. It means that he has taken the road that is not taken by others, that the road not taken. On the other side, it means he has taken the road, uh, the one road only, but the other road that he couldn't take. So that means that he is feeling also a regret on his decision. So these are some, you can say, probable interpretations that you can coin from the title, The Road Not Taken. It means it was not taken, but the other road was taken, not roads not taken. By Robert Frost. So what it looks like when he talks about the two roads. So you can see in the picture, there are two roads diverged in the woods. Okay, so now he is standing in the middle of both of the roads, and like the V shape. He is standing over there in the starting of the V shape, and he is thinking about which way to go, which road to take, and now he's confused about because he is inquisitive, he is curious, he wants to take both of the roads, but he cannot travel both of the roads. But that is the reason that he is thinking which road to travel. So the poem starts with two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry, I could not travel both. So standing at the beginning of both of the roads, he is thinking, and because these two roads are actually diverging and merging into the yellow woods. You can also see they are actually diverging and merging into the yellow woods. And sorry, I could not travel both, and I cannot travel both, and be one traveler. Long I stood and looked down one as far as I could. So, thinking about the possibility to take only one road, I stood over there for a long time and I was looking at the road and to where it went in the undergrowth. So, you see also that there are some undergrowth of the trees, and in that undergrowth, there is no road because you cannot see that road anymore. It means he can see not far the road, because if he can see the road that where it leads, might he sees the destiny also. He might see the end of the road also. That is the reason he cannot see far, because of the trees they are spreading over the roads, both of the roads, and he cannot see far. It means neither he can travel both the roads, nor he is feeling comfortable to take one. Because if he takes one, he is thinking about the other road. Now you can see that it talks about multiple things. First, if a man is actually all the time in a curiosity to explore something new, and whenever he does one thing, he is actually glorifying the other thing that he hasn't done. Like this happens with everyone. He talks about the inquisitive or the curiosity of the mind of every individual, that how we are thinking all of the time, okay, that I have taken one, but I could have taken that thing or that one, and might be that would have created any difference in my life. So we are all the time, I would say, not satisfied. You can also see now these are only the interpretations. You can also share your interpretation. So writer, the poet does not feel contentment or satisfaction, and you can also write all these interpretations in your notebooks, because we are just analyzing the poem with our opinions, with our suggestions. So he feels so that man is curious about not to have these two ways at a time. On the other side, he sees that if I become the traveler of one road, what would happen that I could not enjoy the journey of the second road. So he is now confused, and you see that from Victorian age to post-modern age, the people they have been, I would say, especially the people of the 20th century, they have been confused, they have been desperate about so many things. Even though you can see the most of the American poets, like including Sylvia Plath, she's also been called as a desperate poetess, because she has talked about the things in a desperate way that you will feel that she is really a victim of the male dominancy or the male patriarchy. That was the reason that she has attempted so many suicides. She attempted suicide attempts. On the other side, it was that she was, after that, she also died. It means that Robert Frost also seems to be a poet, but desperate one, a depressed one. He talks about the mental condition of every individual, that this what happens when you take the one and you leave the another road, leave the other road. So he standing over there, he is looking at both of the roads and thinking which one to take. Now he decides something. It says, then took the other as just as fearful. Now, first of all, he was talking about the first road. Now he's saying that then took the other. Like, talk about the other road. So where it leads you or where it takes you, as just as fair. So the second, because he is going and visit the jungle in the morning, in the early morning. So you see that in the early morning, both of the roads they are equally laid. There is no difference between that which is most traveled and which is less traveled. He cannot judge. So he said that then they took the other as just as fair. It is also fair. It also looks good. It also seems that I must travel this if I talk about the second road. And having perhaps the better claim. And it has the better claim to travel on it rather than the first one. So he is now confused which way to go. Because the first road that he wants to take, it is also a good one. On the other side, the second road, it is also fair, and you can say it also gives a better claim to travel on. Because it was grassy and wanted wear. So now you can say the wear. Because it was grassy and wanted wear, it means that this also looks good, and there's grass and everything lays perfectly over there. Though, as for that, the passing there had warned them really about the same. But there is one thing that he mentions over here, that it seems that the grass or everything on that road has been worn, has been trodden by the people. It seems that the people they have been uh, on this road and had warned them really about the same. And about that morning equally late. In that morning, both of the roads they present or offer a better claim to travel on, and in leaves no step had trodden black. So now, because it is the morning time and these roads haven't been trodden black by anyone. You see that at night there are some fresh trees that spread on the roads, and in the morning you know that there are scarcely a few people who travel on the roads in the jungle. That is the reason that he, I would say that came early in the morning in the jungle to see the roads, and he sees that the leaves, no step had trodden black. So when the steps of the people they are on the leaves and on the roads, so they are actually making the things trodden black. But if there is no one, there is no traveler on this road, it means that the road looks like fresh. So no man or no individual in this morning has traveled them. So it seems that both of the roads are giving a or offering a better claim to travel on. So, oh, I kept the first war for another day. So now he has decided something. He has decided that now the first road, I kept the first for another day. It might be the first road that he was talking about. He will travel it, but in another day, if the life gives him the chance to travel it. Yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. But he is also worried about the scarcity of life, because you see that the life, if the life gives him the chance, so the scarcity of life is also in the way, because you know that the people, they are facing depressions, anxieties, and worries living in the modern life, in the modern era, and might be the person or the poet will be dead at any time, and he never got the time to travel this after some time. So that is the reason that he is regretting. He is regretting on his decision first, that why he didn't or why he couldn't travel the both, and secondly, he feels so that I will take only the one road, and that is the second one. I will catch the first for another sake. And he doubted if I should ever come back. He does not believe on himself about this, because you know that it is up to the nature, it is up to the God whether he will come back or not. If the life gives him some relaxation or leverage, because the people can die at any time. So that is the reason he doubted about it, that if the life gives him the chance, then I will come and visit it. And now I shall be telling this with a sigh. So now you see that sigh seems to be seems to give two expressions. The first, it seems that it is a negative one. On the other side, it seems it is a positive one. So sigh means, you can say, with a regret, you will be telling this thing with a sigh or with a regret, that why I couldn't travel that way that I left over there. Or might be you would be telling this with a pride that I traveled that way that I wanted. So it seems that what I would think about this, it is a kind of befooling yourself. And why it is befooling yourself, tricking yourself? Because the modern man, especially the modern individual, they do not have anything. They do not have anything, uh, I would say, countable, anything stable, anything static. So at every moment, the things were changing. And the people, sometimes they were very fed up from their lives, and sometimes they were loving their lives. And another thing that you need to know about this concept of about this subject, that the poets who are taking the subject of nature, most of the time they are the depressed one, in a sense, because they are associating themselves with the components of the nature. So they are using nature as to escape from the worries of the societies. That is the reason we also do the same. Like when we go somewhere, some places, to see the nature, we are definitely have to go into that nature or into the scenery of that nature, that we totally forget about where we come from and where we have to go. We totally forget about, because nature gives you a transcality, I would say. So that trance is actually that gives you a numbness, that you are feeling nothing except the beauty of the nature. That is the reason that most of the poets, they use this technique to give their feelings or a vent of feelings through the nature, through the platform of the nature, because nature absorbs all the worries, tensions, atrocities, and the problems of the human beings into it without taking its advantage, taking advantage of the human being. So that is the reason that nature absorbs every worry. And that would, we will say that the people and the poets, they talk about the things, because nature does not give you something bad in response, rather it gives you something good. And another thing that I will be saying about the phenomenon of the nature, because you see the picture of the God in the picture of the nature. You see the picture of the God. And you know that you haven't seen the God with with your own eyes, with the complete image. And definitely you are also curious about that thing also. So you feel comfortable to talk about your tensions and worries uh, to a subject, I would say, or to the one that is not visible, and that does not, that invisible, you can say, individual or the one does not respond to something, does not want any response, or in return nothing beneficial from your side. That is the reason that people feel okay and fine to share their groans and pains and atrocities with the nature, because in return nature does not take any benefit from you, rather it gives you some solace or some relaxation. That is the reason that people feel okay to share something with the nature, because nature is the one that does not disclose the secrets of the human being. But if you share the people with the people, so people they can do this. That is the reason we can say that nature is not only a subject that we will take only as a only one aspect of the human life. No, it is bigger than our imagination. So he says that I shall be telling this with a sigh. So that sigh, most probably sigh means that it is a, might be a, not a good thing, might be it is a negative thing. But you can take both of the meanings, like the negative and the positive at the same time, because this is poetry. You can take it with, you can interpret the poetry or any line of the poetry with your understanding as you feel comfortable. And what he shall be telling with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence. From now on, the ages and ages, years and years, generation and generation, like he will be telling his children, his granddaughters, his grandsons about this experience that he has done in the jungle, standing in front of the from the two front of two roads. And what is it? That two roads diverged in a wood. And now there is, you can say, some break. It means that he is feeling some remorse and some regret. I, I took the one less traveled. So what he has taken the road that is less traveled, that is not traveled by many people. There are two things again. He has taken that less traveled road because he feels so that there are some difficulties in the road. That is the reason that people, you know, that most of the time people do not take those roads in which there are some difficulties, and they are some facing their some problems as well. They are already taking that road that is already traveled by the people, because they feel so that okay, if we get lost, then we will die in a day. Oh, sorry, in the road. So that is the reason that they do not take any risk of their lives to travel a road that is traveled by less people, or even though not to make or create another way that will be associated with their name, with their journey. That okay, this is the road that was traveled only by one man, and that is Robert Frost. It means that what is he doing is not even though creating a new one, or he is not traveling the most traveled, rather he is actually taking the road that is less traveled. It gives you two interpretations. What I think about it, it means that less traveled by, that it is traveled by the people, but not too much people, by not by the too much people or too many sorry people. On the other side, he hasn't created a new one. It means that he hasn't created a new one. The people would be thinking, or he himself would be thinking, that I do not want to create something new that will be not acceptable by the people. You know that the thing is not an easy to do. Like if you are doing something new, something creative, there will be, I would say, very less people in the world that will go with your idea that you have created. There are very, I would say, less people in the world. But if you are doing what the other people have already done, then you will also be accepted by the society. And that is the reason in every society that what is happening, what is the, I would say, the biggest issue of today's world, what we are doing, if, let me give you an example, a practical example of this. If there is a new fashion in the society of England and France or in America, and if that is not, I would say, that doesn't look good, that doesn't look sensible or ethical, like regarding with our society or with our standards. And if you want to follow that, if you will follow the same dress code in your society, you will be abused, you will not be accepted. People say, no, this person is totally unbearable. Because you, what you are doing, you are taking that sample to imply on yourselves directly. Like you can talk about any dress, like dress, as the dress English women are wearing, if that dress comes in Pakistan, do you think that you will be wearing the same dress, the same dress in our society? You can't do that. But you can do one thing. You can do one thing, and what is that? You can take some of the things related to your culture and some of the things that you have learned from the new culture, you can mix them up. By intermixing both of the things, if you do that, then there will be less criticism on yourself. Like, let me give you an example. I'm not actually criticizing only one gender. Definitely, we all are doing the same. Like, if you are wearing a, a gown, and on that gown, it means that this is the depiction or the representation, symbolic representation of Islam, or even though the Pakistani society. But if you are wearing jeans under that gown, it means that you are also following the culture. So it is actually the intermixing of culture. Similarly, a man who is actually having the beard, and he is talking about that American culture must be eliminated from the society. On the other side, he is wearing pant shirt, okay, their dress codes, wearing the glasses of their brands. It means that what it is, you are intermixing the things. And if you do that, then you will be acceptable. But if you just entirely copy the culture of theirs, that would not be. So that is the thing, that if you just want to create something new in the society, that will be considered as taboo. A taboo. But that is socially restricted movement. But if you do not create something new, but if you create based on the previous one, so that will be acceptable by the time. It will take time, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. One, it will become a slang, then it will be acceptable. So that is the reason that he talks about that the roads. I took the one less traveled by. That is not traveled by many people. Why? Because the society may also feel that he is the one, a traditional one, a conservative one, and he didn't create a new world for himself. And so the people can be the followers of that leader. People can also be the on same way that he has traveled, and many or less of the others also traveled. It means he hasn't taken. This was the difference, I would say. None traveled the way that was traveled by many people, but he has taken the way that is less traveled. It means that he has done something new with the combination of the old one. And now you can see that he is also uh, giving the value to his tradition, is giving the value to his customs, and something he's also on the other side creating something new from that old tradition. So this, I would say, the beauty of this poetry. And if you can remember, because this situation does create the same, I would say, decorum as T.S. Eliot has created in his book that named, it was, I think, essay that was uh, Tradition and Individual. I could not remember the exact title of this. But it was all about the tradition, or uh, what it was. So the tradition basically was that in which you have to follow the tradition of the society, and on the other side he says that you must take the tradition with you, and then on the basis of that tradition you can create something new out of it. The tradition and the individuality. It means, do not say that, okay, I have no connection with the tradition, with the customs. Do not ever think so. That I have created myself of my own, and I am one of them. I am not one of them. This is my own world that I have created. No, means that you have to follow the tradition, your customs, and with that custom you have to create something new out of it. So that is, you can say also, you can quote, and you can also take as an analogy from T.S. Eliot's works, tradition and. Okay, so two roads coming back to now the poem. I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. It has made all the difference. So now the difference can be taken as an achievement of the poet. It can be, because it feels so that he has taken the less traveled by, it has made all the difference. It means that it is the thing that is his reward, or that is his achievement, because this has created a difference in his life, and this was the thing that he was famous for, and he got 4 Pulitzer prizes. Might be that was the writing style that was different from, slightly different from the other people. Okay, so we can say that the writing style and the other things that he has talked about, that he has depicted, it is all about the writing style of Robert Frost, that he has seen the world with a new angle, but based on the old one. Based on the old one. So you can also see that there seems to be some romantic ties in the poetry of Robert Frost, because the romantics, they have also shown the worries and the tensions of the human beings through the nature. Like you can take different example, like ode to the nightingale, ode to the west wind, and then he has talked about on the other side William Wordsworth, his poems, and many of the other writers' poems. So they have taken, I would say, nature as a subject that talks about the feelings, or the sentiments, or the experiences of the human beings. So he also does the same, but within variety. That is the reason he says that I took the one less traveled by. Okay, so now we are done with the poem, and we see that the poem is entirely simple, but the most simplest and easiest things, they give you more ways of interpretations. But if the things are complicated, they won't give you much more to interpret on it, because You know that the complicated meanings and terms, they give you only one meaning. But the easiest way, the easiest and the plain language, they will give you a lot of ways to interpret it. That is the reason that we can interpret this poem in different, with different angles and with different aspects. So, what it seems that man is totally weary, man is totally uh, fed up from his life. Writer also seems to be fed up from his life, and he seems confused which way he needs to go, and he because he sees the equal opportunities in front of him. And what happens might be when he traveled the first one and he was thinking about, no, I should have taken the second one, and if he should have taken the second one, he was must have thinking about that, oh no, I must have taken the first one. You know, this is all about the lives of the people, the mental level of the people, that we are all the time ambivalent like this. On the other side, let's talk about a little bit the tone, the style, or the form of the poet. Okay, what seems the form of this poem, according to me, this is, I would say, monosyllabic. Like mono means one, and syllabic means about the syllables. So this poem seems monosyllabic in its style, in which the writer Robert Frost himself is the narrator, you can say, and he talks about his experiences of life while living in the nature. And on the other side, if you talk about that this monosyllabic, that consists of definitely one syllable, but on the other side, you see that in the iambic pentameter, it was about the two syllables in a single word. So that was a different. Now you can see that this poem is all about the style is monosyllabic, and the second that I think about this poem is that it is in the pattern of A B A A B. So this is a form of the pattern. Like you can see the first line, if it is A, the second is B, the third is again A, and the fourth is again A, and the fifth is B. So you can see the pattern here. Like then took the other as just as fair. So it is A, and having perhaps the better claim. Claim and fair does not seem, I would say, the rhymed one. It is B. So now because it was grassy and wanted where, fair, where, and there. So these are three A, and on the other side we see that and having perhaps the better claim, and the last one is same. So these are two B. So what is the you can say the structure of the poem? It is A B A B. It means the first line, that is A, the third line and the fourth line, they sound the same, like where, there, and these are three A. And the second line is B, and the last line is also B, and it is claim same. So that is B. It means this is A B B. So this is actually the form of this form. So this is very easy. You can easily understand that. You can easily remember it with the sounds. So fair, where, there, A, claim, and same is B. Okay, so now, okay, so this was the first poem by Robert Frost, and if you just need to ask anything about this, you can ask me. Rather, if you talk about, I would say, the poem, the whole poem is actually in the metaphor, not in the metaphor. It is actually in the extended metaphor, the whole poem. So you can also know that what we have studied about the extended metaphor. So what What is extended metaphor? Yes, anyone? Actually, extended metaphor is when you are talking about, or when the metaphor comes in multiple sentences, in multiple scenes, in multiple situations, in multiple happenings. So that is actually the other shape of, I would say, metaphor, like the extended form of metaphor. And if you have studied this extended metaphor in the work of Alexander Pope, because he has also used extended metaphor that is on the other way is called as conceit. So conceit can be taken as an extended metaphor. You can see here there are many words they are actually talking about this extended metaphor. So you have to work on the extended metaphor. Secondly, the tone of this poem seems to be regretful. Like it seems that the poet is regretting on his decision, and from the starting of the poem till the end of the poem, he doesn't seem quite happy, or his tone doesn't seem optimistic. It seems that he is not talking about is because he seems indecisive in a sense. Indecisive means that he is lacking of to make any decision, and this is also, I would say, the quality, not quality, it is an attribute of the modern man that we are lacking of. Uh, we are lacking of the decision making quality because we are indecisive, we are submissive to the other people. Like whenever we have to do something, we are actually consulting many people about that thing, because we ourselves cannot make or cannot decide anything. So we have to take, and we are totally confused about things. And then it doesn't seem that it is all about the championing decision, that you are winning this making you are winning the decisions actually over here, that okay, you are going this and you are going there, but it seems that you are uh, independent decisions of your own, that you are making independent decisions of your own. So this is the attribute that I think must be associated with everyone. Like individual must have something to decide for their own selves, that what is good for you. Instead of you will be just thinking about that, okay, which way to go, because this whole form, I would say, looks like a journey of a humankind. It is a journey of yours, it is a journey of mine. So whenever we go to any road, we are all the time thinking about, okay, what is our future, what is our destiny, what it will be, and how it will be. Might be the writer is also feeling sometimes here to travel the first way, because he is thinking that might be he is actually taking this road. It might be there is some attack of a tiger on him, or might be that there is no road, there is no destiny. Might be there are some robbers that will kill him. So there are, I would say, many risks in every way. And on the other side, if that person takes the another road, might be that does not give him the same way. It will also be full of the things. It will also be full of the risks and dangers too. So I would say that it is actually not about the championing decision, that you are winning your decision. No, it is only about actually to make an independent decision, at least for yourself. So, and I think that this is the thing that he has said at the end of the poem, that it has made all the difference. It doesn't mean that he has said that okay, he has actually won the war, or he has actually uh, no. It means that he has taken the decision of his own self, of his own self. So this is what this poem is all about. The road not taken. So if you need to ask anything, you can ask me right now. Otherwise, we are going to study the next poem. No question at all. Yes. No one? Okay, then we can move further. So, the poem is very simple, and the writing style of Robert Frost is also very plain and easy. You can easily understand the things. The simple vocabulary is also there. What you need to do, you just need to interpret the poem with different angles or with different dimensions. So you can do it with yourself. So you see that even though the things that I have just uh, taken out of this poem, I I would say that these are all my opinions and my interpretations. I can also do that. Like it means that you can also do that. So what you need to do, you can associate some understanding that you have already about the other subjects with this work. So this is how you can make this poem more lively. Okay, the second poem is about the tree, this tree that you can see, and this tree gives you not only one type of color, but there is a I would say multiple color that this tree gives. So first of all, that you can see that it is called birches, the birch tree or the birches, and the birch tree is very flexible, and it's found in the northern area of America, in most of the jungles, and they are very flexible, and they have different colors of their trunks and stems, different colors of their leaves too. Like you can also see the yellow leaves, and they are also turning their colors with the passage of time or with the passing of seasons too. So, because you know that as a poet, he talks about the components of the nature. So, tree is another component of nature that he talks about, and what it is birches by Robert Frost. Okay. Before that, let me give you an overview that what this poem is going to be about. This poem is all about and associated, I would say, with the life of Robert Frost, because Robert Frost is uh, he just quit spending his life or his years, especially of his young age, in the city area because he was totally fed up from the city area, and then he moved to the rural area where he actually felt more convenient instead of the in the cities. So he was associated and close to nature there. He tried to talk about those things. And the second thing that is associated with the nature is his childhood experiences. His childhood experiences. It means that when he was a child, his father have had actually a bunch of trees of birches, and he was actually going over there and he was swinging over the birches tree when he was a child. So the second thing we can say that it is associated with the childhood experiences of Robert Frost, because when he was going to the trees of his father and he was actually swinging over the birches trees, he was swinging over the branches of the tree. So it is again, you can say that childhood experience that is associated with him. Okay, then again, the language seems to be, I would say, conversational. And you have also studied in the biography of Robert Frost, in which he has, the publisher has claimed that, first of all, when he started his writing, he was a bit formal in his writing style. And what becomes after of Robert Frost, that his poetry became, I would say, conversational. It seems that he is talking to the human being, he is talking with the readers. So that became the conversational style of conversational. And this is the beauty of this work, that it seems that this poem talks to you. Directly, it seems that it talks to you. So that is a conversational style. And another good thing, because if it is a conversational style, then then it is also about a thing, a style, a literary style that was very famous, especially in the Victorian era, and that was a stream of consciousness. Stream of consciousness. Stream of consciousness is used by Virginia Woolf. It is another technique that is used by James Joyce. This is a technique that is used by many writers of the Victorian era. And this stream of consciousness was a new style, I would say, of writing, or it was a new technique. Stream of consciousness. What is stream of consciousness? You see that stream. Stream means the continuation of something. The stream, as you can see, the stream of any stream, any flow. So that is associated with stream, continuation. And consciousness is actually about the thoughts, about the ideas, about the mental capabilities. It is about the experiences. It is about the sentiments. It is about your, I would say, whatever comes in your mind. So this is related to that. So stream of consciousness is actually a flow of ideas, or a continuation of the ideas, or a continuation of the thoughts that is associated with an individual, or that talks about an individual's thoughts. So that is a stream of consciousness. In other words, if you just try to understand in an explanation that what stream of consciousness is, you can also add this for your understanding, that when I was a student of MPhil at Government College University, Islamabad, so my teacher asked me, my supervisor, Dr. Ali Usman Salim, he asked me that whenever you have to write the thesis, your thesis, do not give any stop to your thinking and thoughts. Whatever comes in your mind while writing your thesis, you have to put it in the file. And I didn't understand, I didn't get at that time that what it's all about. He said that if you are a singer also, he said, and if you are actually writing about something, about any writer or about any theory, so if at that time any song comes in your mind, you have to do that. And I was laughing at that time, sir, how can I do that? Like I'm writing my thesis, and after that, if something bad comes in my mind, should I write that as well? And he said, yes. And I said, why? He said that this is actually stream of consciousness, a flow of your thoughts. Whenever you put a stop in your flow of thoughts, what happens? That things just goes out of your mind, and it never comes in. I was thinking at that time, yeah, whether is this possible? And you may have experienced this thing many times, that whenever you were actually thinking in a process in the form of about something, and you are just remembering the things, but sometimes when your attention is deviated, you forget about that thing, and you ask the people, okay, what I was talking about, especially when I do this. Like whenever I'm teaching, I am teaching in a continuous form. But when someone interrupts me, then there is a obstacle, there is a stop, there is a break in my thinking, in my thoughts. And then I was finding that, okay, what I was talking about. Because I cannot talk about that thing with the same flow that I was already talking about. Because I will be forgetting about some details, forgetting about some points, and I will go into another direction. And that is actually the stream of consciousness that will make you unable to write something without any obstacle, because it comes in your mind and it comes in your mouth and then in the pen, and you are writing it. So this is, you can say, the flow of the thoughts, the flow of the ideas that come in your mind, and then you started writing about it. And this seems very natural, this seems very realistic. So this is again about, you can say, that this is a style, this is a stream of consciousness that is about this poem, that this is also written in the conversational style. This is all about, because if this is a conversational, this is all about the stream of consciousness. And if this is realistic, sorry, stream of consciousness, there is stream of consciousness, then there will be a realistic picture of the things. And what is the reason? You know that when the style is conversational, conversational style depicts only the things that you found around you. So if you are talking about them, if you are talking about the people around you, so that is a conversational style. And on the other side, it is a realistic style, because you are not talking something that does not exist in the world. That is also a realistic style. So we can say that he is he's using a conventional writing style, or more often he is using a conversational writing style with a realistic mode of study, or with a realistic approach. So this is what is all about this purchase. And if you talk about, you can say, what is the narrator of this poem, you can easily say that when I. So what is I? In that way, narrators, we have I, that is first person narration. You is a second person narration. He or she is a third person narration. So there is scarcely any writing. There are a few writings that is in the second person writing, in the second person narration. Otherwise, most of the writings are actually in the first person narration, especially those are based on the subjective writing. They are using the first person narration. On the other side, the third person narration. Like many novels, many writings, they are written in third person narration, like with the usage of he, with the usage of she, or with the usage of any name or any other thing. So that can be that is all about, you can say, most probably about the objectivity of the things, because you are not talking about yourself, you are talking about others. So that is an objective approach, the third person narration. And first person narration is a subjective approach that talks about yourself, because you already know that he talks about himself, and that is the reason that it is first person narration, because it is based on the experiences of Robert Frost. So this is how the things are actually strongly connected with one another. And if you really understand the one thing, you can understand the second, third, and go on. So that is the reason that I all the time stress that you must pay attention on the first thing. And that is the reason I tell you about the backgrounds, tell you about the biographies, tell you about the overviews, tell you something about that what is going to be all about. Okay. Now, another thing, because I have studied Birches when I was a student of American literature in my 5th semester. I think it's been almost 5 to 6 years. And I still remember, this is the first time that I'm just looking at this poem, Birches. And when I see Birches bent to left and right, across the lines of straighter, darker trees, I like to think some boy's been swinging back. And now, in these 3 lines, he has, I would say, drawn a picture, a realistic picture of his life. And what it is? He says, when I see birches, the birch tree, they are bending left to right whenever I see it. across the lines of the straighter, darker trees. It means there is a straighter, darker trees, and they are planted in a line. They are planted in a line by any farmer or by any planter. And who is that planter? He is actually his father. He is actually his father. So he planted actually birches, all those birches trees on his lands. He says across the lines of straighter, darker trees, darker trees. Now, if we talk about the symbolism of the poem, so darker trees. The dark color is a symbol of hopelessness, of pessimism, of not a, I would say, that thing that is not good enough. So he says that it is a line of the straighter, darker trees. So now the straighter, darker trees can also be associated with a memory, with a past memory that is not anymore. So darker trees is a symbol to a thing that is not accessible now. A thing that is not, I would say, a valid now. It means that it is gone, darker trees. Now it gives you a picture of some pessimistic approach. It means that it is actually based on the hopelessness of the writer, because it seems that he is talking about a thing that is no more there. Or if it is there, then there is another thing associated with this that is not there. And what I can actually get from it, it seems that if the birches trees, the writer is actually seeing the birches trees after a long time, because he talks about, I like to think some boys been. It means it is a past situation, and that is the reason it actually comes in mind that now the writer is, or the poet is no more a child. He is an adult now. He is an adult now. And when he is adult now, and he is no more appreciating his adultery or his adult life or his young life anymore, and sorry. Yeah. So we were talking about this is actually the dark experience, a hopeless experience of the writer, because there are two situations. The first is associated with the present, and second is associated with the past. Because he also talks, I like to think some boys been swinging them, but swinging does not bend them down to stay as ice storms do. Okay, now he is saying that swinging does not bend the trees down to stay. You know that when we were child, so what we were also doing the same. Like I was doing the same whenever, because at that time when I was child, so there was a tubal, and along with that tubal there was a tree, and those branches were very flexible. So we have to go there, and we have to hold those branches, and then we have to dip into the water, and after that we were coming out. That was a wonderful experience. Like you are going down and you are setting yourself on the ground, and then you are going upward with the flexibility of that branch. And he says that it seems that some boys being, because the tree that he can see now, the birch tree, they are also bending left to right. He thinks that might be any boy has been swinging them, swinging these birch tree. But on the other side, he says, but swinging does not bend them down to stay as ice storms do. Might be it is not the ability of any child, or that he is actually swinging those birch trees, and with that power of that child, that they actually went left to right or right to left. But I think so that it is the ice storms, because of the power of the nature. They were actually staying over there, and that is the reason that there is vent in the trees because of that. And it is also justified because the ice storms, whenever there are some ice storms, what they do with the weight of the ice, because they are on the upper branches of the tree. So the upper branches, they are full of ice. So when they are full of snow, full of ice, what they are doing, they are going down on the earth until or unless the sun comes, and with the warmth of the sun, the snow melts, and then they may right themselves again. The tree may go straighter once again. Otherwise, with the snow, that ice on the tree can make them bend, and they can remain over there for many time, for many years, for many months, even though when a new season comes. So you can see that how many interpretations we have right now in our mind. A new season, it means this the season of problems, atrocities, because snow is another symbol. So snow is another symbol. What is the snow symbol of? Rather, we see that we feel very unique. Okay, do you people have another class?
Yes, sir.
Okay, then I think that you must leave then. I was thinking that you had no class, so I just wanted to continue. But okay, if you have another class, I think that we can end this right now. So is it at 10?
Yes, sir.
Okay then, quickly. Thank you so much for attending today's lecture. And if you have any question, you can ask me in the next lecture. Thank you. Take care. Allah Hafiz. Have a good day.
Hello, please.